What happens after we die? I mean, it's probably the biggest question we've ever asked ourselves, right? It's something that has fascinated and, let's be honest, kind of scared people for thousands of years. In this explainer, we're going to look at the incredible, profound answers that the world's major religions have come up with for this ultimate mystery. From the very first human societies right up to today, this question has been on everyone's mind. So today, we're going to dive into some of the amazing, complex beliefs that different faiths have created to try and answer it. So, let's take a trip, shall we? We're going to explore the spiritual ideas of 6 major faiths. And you'll see just how many different paths humanity has imagined for the soul's journey after this life is over. So, where does this all start? Well, for a lot of faiths, the journey begins the moment life ends, with some really important rites and rituals. These are practices meant to help prepare the deceased for whatever comes next. And you can see right away there's a huge variety. You've got burial, which is common in Islam, Judaism, and for most Zoroastrians today. Then there's cremation, which is central to Hinduism. They see fire as a way to purify the body and release the soul. And then there's something really different. Traditional Zoroastrians practiced exposure, leaving the body in what were called towers of silence, because they believed earth and fire were too sacred to be touched by death. But even with all these different methods, what's really fascinating are the similarities. Take Islam and Judaism, for example. In both traditions, the body is treated with incredible respect. It's washed carefully, wrapped in a simple white cloth, and the burial happens fast, usually within a day. And this sends a really powerful message. In death, everyone is equal. No fancy clothes, no status symbols. Okay, so the body's been taken care of, but what about the soul? Where does it go? Well, several faiths talk about this intermediate place, almost like a spiritual waiting room, where the soul hangs out before its final destination is decided. In Catholicism, this place is called purgatory. Now, this isn't about punishment. Think of it more like a place of purification for souls who are definitely going to heaven, but just need a little cleaning up first. And what's really interesting is the belief that prayers from people who are still alive can actually help those souls and make their journey quicker. Over in Islam, there's a concept called barzakh. The idea here is that the soul is in the grave, and it's met by 2 angels who ask some pretty important questions. Based on your life's deeds, your soul gets either a little taste of paradise or a little preview of torment, and it stays in that state until the final day of judgment. Then you have Tibetan Buddhism, which describes a 49-day journey through the bardo. This is a space filled with intense, sometimes terrifying visions. But here's the twist. None of what the soul sees is real in the way we think it. It's all just projections from your own mind, your own karma playing out like a movie. The whole point is to realize it's all an illusion, and by doing that, achieve enlightenment. So let's break this down, because this slide really lays it all out. You've got 3 totally different purposes for these waiting rooms. Purgatory is for purification, and you're guaranteed to get to heaven eventually. Barzakh is all about waiting for the final call. And the bardo, well, that's a final, high-stakes chance to wake up and get enlightened before you're reborn. Sooner or later, though, that waiting period is over. And what comes next? Well, it's the moment of truth, the day of reckoning. It's time for the Great Judgment. In Islam, this is a pretty epic multi-step process. It starts with that questioning in the grave we talked about. Then, on Judgment Day, everyone is resurrected. You get your book of deeds, basically a full record of your life. Then your good and bad deeds are weighed on a giant cosmic scale. And it all ends with this incredible image crossing the Sirat Bridge. It's said to be thinner than a hair and sharper than a sword, right over hell. And how fast you get across depends on how good you were in life. Okay, but here's something that might totally flip what you think you know about the afterlife. The idea of hell, what if it isn't always a one-way eternal ticket? In a lot of major religions, it's actually a temporary stop. I love this quote because it sums it up perfectly. The Jewish concept of Gehenna is exactly that. It's like your soul is going through a spiritual washing machine. It's a place for purification, not permanent punishment. And get this, the longest anyone can be there is just 12 months. And this isn't just in Judaism. You see similar ideas in Zoroastrianism with its temporary house of lies. And in Buddhism, the hell realms are just one of several places you could be reborn into. It's awful for sure, but once that bad karma has burned off, you move on, which is a huge difference from the more traditional, permanent hell you find in Christianity and Islam, right?
All right, so if you pass the test, what's the ultimate prize? This is where we see a major fork in the road when it comes to the end goal.
Basically, it boils down to two very different ideas. Are you trying to get into a perfect eternal paradise with God? That's the goal for faiths like Judaism, Christianity, Islam, and Zoroastrianism. Or are you trying to get out of the whole system of life, death, and rebirth entirely? That's the ultimate aim in Hinduism and Buddhism. So in Hinduism, there's this idea that souls are stuck in something called samsara. It's a never-ending cycle of being born, dying, and being reborn again. And what you come back as is all decided by your karma, your actions in your past life. Your soul, which is eternal, just moves from one body to the next, almost like you'd change your clothes. So, you see, the real goal isn't just to get a promotion in your next life, to come back as something better. It's to break free from that cycle for good, to escape the whole thing. In Hinduism, this ultimate freedom is called moksha. In Buddhism, it's called nirvana. Now, they're similar, but not exactly the same thing. Think of moksha as maybe merging with the divine, becoming one with everything. Nirvana, on the other hand, is more about putting out the fire, extinguishing all the craving and suffering that keeps the cycle going in the first place. The goal isn't to get to a new place, it's to end the journey. So, from ancient Persia to the banks of the Ganges, what we're really seeing is the same human story playing out over and over again, this deep, shared search for meaning in the face of our own mortality. I mean, look at Zoroastrianism. It's one of the oldest religions in the world. And today, there are only about 200,000 followers left. But, and this is a huge but, its ideas about a final judgment, about resurrection, about good finally winning, those ideas influenced Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. We're talking billions of people. So at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if it's a razor-thin bridge, a purifying fire, or an endless wheel. What all these paths are wrestling with are the big questions: justice, purpose, and what it truly means to live a good life. They're all saying that our choices matter, that our lives have a meaning that echoes into whatever comes next. And that kind of leaves us with one last big thought to chew on. Is the afterlife a final test, a one-shot deal where you pass or fail? Or is it more like a cycle of lessons, something we have to keep repeating until we finally get it right and can, well, graduate from the whole thing? It seems the answer to that is as rich and mysterious as humanity itself.